this was about as bizarre and as easy as it gets.
So the number for me was a number that would allow me to never have to work again.
I feel like we got top.
I went from a sale of, $500,000 to in debt.
$192 million.
This is Built to Sell Radio with your host, John Warlow.
This episode of Built to Sell Radio is brought to you by Prescore. What on earth is a Prescore? Pre stands for personal readiness to exit your company. And here we're looking to evaluate how personally ready you are to leave your company. When you go to sell a business to have a successful exit and look back on it without regret, you need two things. Number one, a company that is attractive to an acquirer, to a company that's built to sell. And number two, you personally need to be ready to exit that business. We found that there are 4 drivers of a happy and lucrative exit, 4 ways you can personally ready yourself to exit your business. And by completing your pre-score, you are going to see how you're performing against those 4 major drivers of a happy and lucrative exit. Just go to prescore.com. Oh man, I had so much fun with this interview. Griffin, Thall, and Thall Goodman leave university and go to Costa Rica on a trip. They buy some bracelets. They decide to take some bracelets home with them. 10 years later, they sell their bracelet company for roughly $100 million. It's an amazing story about a couple surfers done good. And I'll let him tell you the whole story. A couple things to be on the lookout for. Listen for how he describes his subscription model. Although relatively small amount of revenue, I think it was key to providing his acquirer that sense of recurring revenue. So interesting about that. Listen to how they built their brand using their ambassador program, like 100,000 of these ambassadors across campuses. There's a really nice juxtaposition between the private equity deals he was offered and the strategic deal that he ended up accepting. So listen for the differences between those. I love the trophy that Thall bought himself, so have a listen for what he chose to use part of the money, part of the proceeds to do, and also the persona that he describes as his ideal customer is really important, especially when you're growing. If you can propagate that across your organization, it really helps visualize for everybody, right down to the rank and file employees in your company, who you're trying to serve. Here to tell you the entire story is Griffin Thall. Griffin Thall, welcome to Built to Sell Radio.
Thank you.
I want to hear about this fateful trip to Costa Rica. I've been there, but I want to know more about the one that you took 10 years ago or so.
Yeah. So me and my business partner, Paul, we weren't business partners at the time, obviously. We went on a surf trip to Costa Rica after graduating from San Diego State. And we were there for 5 weeks just to surf and party and explore and backpack and just put ourselves in danger as much as possible. And then one day after we were surfing, we met these 2 guys on the beach making bracelets. And we walked up to their little table. They probably had a little wooden tray with maybe 20 bracelets on it. And we asked them if we could buy a couple. So later that night, we went back to our room. We looked down at our wrists and we said, hey, I think we could sell these to our friends and family. And I don't know what triggered from buying a couple to selling them to friends and family, but something clicked. And the next day we went back and sure enough, Jorge and Joaquin were still there selling bracelets off the little tray right by the beach. And we asked them to make us 400 bracelets. They said they couldn't do it. It's just too much work. And little did we found a way for them to do it. So they made.
How did you find a way for them to do it?
We paid them cash up front, and it was more money than they've pretty much ever seen from one customer because they're selling the bracelets for a couple bucks on the beach. So for us to give them a couple $100 at that time, it was pretty eye opening for them. And we asked them to make us the bracelets. They packed up their things and they never sold bracelets on the beach again.
How did you know they were good for the money?
Honestly, I don't know. I think it was just kind of a risk we were willing to take. They were there pretty much every day. We were at this little hotel, so we knew that they were going to be back the next day. And it was probably some of the last couple $100 on our bank account at the time. So
love it.
You got to think this was a college graduation trip. So after graduating, we got some money from our parents and our friends and family to as a celebration present, and we used that money to go to Costa Rica. And what we paid them was pretty much the end of our bankroll.
And so for folks who haven't seen a Pura Vida bracelet, like what does it look like? How would you describe it to me?
So it's 9 strings, wax coated polyester. It's waterproof, it's adjustable, and it doesn't change colors in the sun.
Do you have one on right now?
I did. I just gave one away, actually. So,
okay. I was going to say, hold it up on YouTube.
I know. I usually, I'm either wearing them half the time or not wearing them half the time. And it's for a generous marketing opportunity that I want to give it to someone.
Got it. So I'm assuming that it's not terribly expensive to create one. If Jorge was selling them for a couple of bucks, like I'm guessing they're pretty inexpensive, or?
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty inexpensive, but we've as much as we've scaled the business, we've never really negotiated our rates with Jorge. We've never tried to penny pinch him. We've never tried to maximize or risk the relationship. It's been very trustworthy. It's been very consistent, and I think both of us feel that we need each other to succeed. Are
you still getting the bracelets from the same guy?
Oh yeah, Jorge and Joaquin. They run the operation. They have almost 1,000 employees now, hand making every Pura Vida bracelet.
Okay, hold on a second. That's just the craziest story. So you're taking a guy that's selling bracelets on the beach. 10 years later, he's running a 1,000-person organization?
Exactly.
That's insane.
It's insane. I mean,
how do you teach somebody to literally run a 1,000-person company? That's did you train him? You must
honestly, have. I think it was just, that was part of the luck that crossed our path, is that we both realized there was an opportunity to be had, and we both ran with it. And, this was mine and Paul's first job out of college. We've never used our resume. We've never raised funding. We've never done anything like this. So it was a big learning curve. And I think they had the same learning curve, in a third world country to be able to scale a business. So to say that we taught them how to grow their business is completely not true. They did that on their own. So we run 2 separate businesses. And it's been extremely successful.
What do you mean you run 2 separate businesses? Help me understand.
So we don't own his company.
Got it.
Technically, if you were to go manufacture a product, you would own the manufacturing plant as well. You would be buying it as a cost of good. That's just kind of how we set it up from the beginning.
So when you sold the company, how much of a liability was it not to control manufacturing? Was that something that came up in the discussions?
I mean, yes and no. More just like quality control and making sure that the operation is safe and passes tests and all that stuff. So I think that it's something that was not a red flag, but it was a discussion point.
Got it. So take me we don't have time for the entire story, but if you think back over the 10 years, you go from buying 400 bracelets. Well, let me get into the next part. So what happens next? You come back to the States. Give me the next part of the story.
So we came back to the States and we had a trash bag full of string. Technically, we were $400 less rich and had a bag of string. And me and Paul were just basically bumping our heads together, being like, all right, now what do we do? That's the big mystery question. So what we realized was we just graduated from college. Facebook was pretty much just starting. It was maybe a year or 2 in. We built a Facebook fan page for our business. We called it Pura Vida Bracelets. And to backtrack really quick, the reason why we named it Pura Vida was because when we were surfing that day after we bought them, we looked down at our wrists and we're like, what do we call these things? Rainbow bracelets, beach bracelets, trendy bracelets. Try to think of Google search terms that might work. And then we realized that Pura Vida was the slogan of Costa Rica. If you go to a restaurant and the server, takes your check, they say Pura Vida, and it means basically pure life, or some sort of symbol that says thank you, or I'm glad you're here, or something to make you feel kind of welcome and homey. Similar to aloha is in Hawaii. So when we looked down at our wrist, me and Paul were like, hey, why don't we just call them Pura Vida bracelets? Because the name makes us feel good. And we looked at the trademark and it was open. So we bought the trademark and that's how we started.
How do you buy a trademark?
You have to know someone who is a trademark attorney and basically work with them. And that's one way. So our friend's dad was actually a trademark attorney. So we really didn't have to search much further than just asking him to do the search for us.
Got it. So you trademarked the name. How do you start selling these bracelets?
Yeah, so we came back, trademarked the name, did as basic business stuff as possible. I think we used LegalZoom in the beginning to just kind of get simple things set up. We have an S corp. We opened a bank account at Wells Fargo. Basically, like the stuff that anyone would really think that you have to do to open a business. So then after that, we realized that we needed to make a website. That was our first thing. So we looked on YouTube how to build a website, and I think we built it on WordPress. It was not mobile friendly. Shopping on your phone was really not a thing 10 years ago. So, which is crazy to think. So now, after that, we have a non-mobile friendly website. Probably takes 12 to 14 seconds to load the homepage. And we have a Facebook fan page, and we have a bag of string. So how does someone take all that and start selling? So what we did, we started to go around San Diego. We pass out bracelets at the bars and restaurants. We were big into the kind of, 21-year-old kind of music scene in San Diego. So we would go to the clubs and pass out bracelets to DJs and the people that went. And then
when you say pass out, you're saying freebies.
Freebies, yeah.
Okay.
So we only had 400. So picture 400 goes down to 200, and our bank account still doesn't go up. But now we have 50% less inventory. What do we do? So once that started happening, people would text us and say, "Hey, thanks for the bracelet you gave me last night. Is there any way that I could get another one?" And then we're like, "Okay, just come by our house." And at the time, we're like 1 month into business. So we basically told these people that hit us up to come to our house and grab a bracelet out of this trash bag. Once we did that enough times, now our inventory of 200 now went down to 0. So we basically barely made any money. We sold a couple of that 200, and then we emailed Jorge for another batch. So a day goes by, a week goes by, no response. On day 10, he finally writes back, and he says, "Hey guys, sorry for the delay." And this is all in Spanish, obviously. "Hey guys, so sorry for the delay. I would love to get you the bracelets. Please let me know how many you need in the address," because he never shipped to us before. So before we left Costa Rica that first time, we actually set him up with an email address, a PayPal, and all this just in case. I don't even know why we even thought that far, but we just did. So once he wrote back on day 10, it was just like fireworks. We were just like ecstatic. Like now we have our manufacturing locked down. He wants to make more bracelets, and we could go to step 2. So now we sent him money for the bracelets. Obviously, we fronted the money again. We took that risk. We negotiated the price, and like 2 weeks later, now we have 1,000 bracelets in my bedroom floor. So what did we do? We repeated the same thing, passed out bracelets around San Diego.
And they're slow learners, man.
I know. And then finally, and then during this time, we built the website too. We watched videos on YouTube. We built the website. I took product photos. Didn't even know how to do that. Didn't have an iPhone back then. I had a BlackBerry. So I had to get a camera. Just basic as you can. And then orders started to come in the website. And we started seeing people that we were passing out the bracelets to around San Diego would order from San Diego and LA and SF. And then they would start going to the East Coast.
And what's the margin? Like what are they paying, and how much are you guys paying?
It's pretty. We get them for a good price. It's similar margins to other brands that are like in our accessory category. I would say that's probably as accurate as as it would be.
I'm going to interpret that to be massive. Let me what does a Pura Vida bracelet cost? Like if I were to buy one online at this juncture in history.
You could buy them anywhere from $6 to a pack of bracelets is like $45.
Okay, so at this time though, when you're just starting to sell your first 1,000, what are you?
We're selling the bracelets for $5 on our website. So to kind of branch off what I was saying before, Paul and I just graduated from San Diego State. We were both in fraternities. We were close to our Greek organization. So then what we did, we hit up all the sororities and we hit up all the fraternities. We asked them if we could come in and give a talk about our new brand. So we would knock on the door with a scheduled time to come in. We would go to the front of the chapter meeting and we would talk about what we just did after graduating college for 2 reasons. 1, to inspire people. 2, to market the brand. And 3, to see if we can get some more people to like our Facebook page. So after we did that, we would go to sorority, and fraternity. And then our Facebook fan page was starting to explode. We went from 0 likes to 1,000 likes to 50,000 likes to 100,000 likes. And this is with 100% organic reach. Okay. So then what we would do, I would get new bracelets in from Costa Rica. I would take a photo of them. I'd put it on the fan page and I'd say, like this photo if you want this bracelet. and we would get 1,000, 2,000 likes in the first hour. It would just, everyone wanted this bracelet. And then they say, where do you get it? And then we put a link to the website. The website would explode, we'd sell out, and that's how we placed the second order for Pura Vida.
Wow. Many people who are sort of into marketing know that Facebook over time more recently has sort of demoted and no longer shows those organic results anymore. How did that impact your business?
So once the Facebook page went from 100% organic and then pretty quickly started to just almost go to 50%, then zero.
What does that mean, 100% to zero? For people who don't really know what we're talking about,
so basically, when we first started our fan page back in 2010, 11, the reach was 100% organic. So if you had 100,000 followers, all of them would see a post because they're signing up to like the page, meaning that they want to see your content. So as Facebook started to release their ads platform, it started to reduce the organic reach and require you to pay for the reach. And once that shift took place, then we had to be creative with our marketing, which allowed Pura Vida to drastically scale on the paid platform. So
maybe walk us through, what did that involve? The evolution from the kind of natural to paid.
Yeah. So once we built the brand on as quick as we could on the organic side, we were able to use Facebook Ad Manager to start creating Facebook ads. And what that means is we would get our product shot from influencers, from in-house, from anywhere we possibly could, to create the most jaw-dropping images that people would click on and go to our website and make a purchase. So we would create different ad sets for different product categories. So we'd have an ad set for the original collection. We'd have an ad for specific style packs, which is a pack of 4 or 5 bracelets combined. We'd have a Facebook ad for a ring or for something like that. And once we would have all these different types of ad sets, customers from all over the world were starting to come into our website from these ads. And that's when Pura Vida really took off.
Got it. And again, I'm a complete neophyte when it comes to social media. Don't have an Instagram account. I've checked Facebook like 3 times in my life. When you say advertising, are you describing about promoting a post, or are you really talking about ads that we think of in the traditional sense of sort of thumbnail ads? Yeah.
So it's not really promoting a post. It would be more going through like the Facebook Ad Manager and uploading a photo as an ad. So basically, it's you could do a post promotion. We've never really done that just because the way that we do it is so at scale, and you need to have a little bit more control and the ability to kind of be uploading different ad sets and variations and A/B tests.
Got it. And then what? How did you track the emergence of Instagram? Because I understand Instagram has basically taken over from Facebook as the primary platform, certainly in that kind of age group that you're after.
Yeah. So for us, once Instagram, or technically once Facebook bought Instagram, that's kind of when it really gained popularity. And we use Instagram as our gallery to showcase the best that Pura Vida can offer. So you got to think why someone likes or follows an account. It's because they truly want to see the content, they want to see your products, they want to hear your story. They basically want to have any way to engage with your brand in the most creative way possible. So for Pura Vida, if you look at our Instagram, we have 1.9 million followers. We're the largest jewelry brand on Instagram. We're the most engaged jewelry brand on Instagram. Between our likes, our comments, and everything, we're bigger than most brands that are triple our size. And that all comes down to content. Our team in-house and our team of influencers and content creators are the best that they possibly can in their industry. We send people all over the world with bracelets. They put them in their backpack. They go to the top of the mountain. They take a picture. They do a backflip off a cliff. They bring their GoPro. They dive deep underwater, snap a picture. So that's the type of experience and the type of lifestyle that we create. We branded a string bracelet, and most people would think that that's impossible to do. And we've done that through photography and through videos that inspire people to travel.
And do you pay people to wear your bracelets?
Some of them now. We have some like bigger brand ambassadors that we work with, kind of on a monthly basis. So, we're paying them to create content for us, to post about us. We also host these influencer trips. And what an influencer trip is where our team, our in-house social media team, will pick a location. They'll pick the faces and the personalities that we want to be a part of this experience, bring them to a location, have a bunch of photographers, and just photograph them having a fun time, and that's it.
It's an amazing story. I want to get into your decision to sell, but before I do, it's a 10-year run. We went from 400 bracelets to 1,000 bracelets, from Facebook to Instagram. Like, as you look back over that 10 years, and it's, I'm sure, very difficult to do this, but is there one decision that you made that has really enabled a lot of the growth that you enjoy today? Because a lot of people are sitting here saying, I've had an Instagram account for 3 years and I've got like 200 people that have liked, you know what I mean? Or like these numbers of 1.9 million. I mean, it's just mind blowing for folks. So could you point to a decision you made?
I would say a couple things. For us, inventory was always an issue. So we had to know how to scale a manufacturing facility in a third world country. The beginning stage is only speaking Spanish. So I would say the biggest factor to perfect that was hiring an in-house supply chain expert. We brought in someone from a bigger company, and she's been really helping with Pura Vida's growth because she's really secured our manufacturing, our relationships with the vendors, but also making sure that the quality control's there and the scalability is there. So if you are a fast growth company, making sure that your supply chain and logistics is dialed, that's more important than the marketing from the beginning stages.
The guy on the beach with the tray of bracelets was Jorge
and Joaquin.
Jorge and Joaquin. What did you tell your supply chain management about your relationship with those two guys? You bring in this executive from a big company, he or she knows their stuff, and you kind of say, but there are these two guys on the beach that we really like. Like, did you say, no matter what, you got to use them? Or did you give them that kind of instruction?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, Pura Vida is built on a story. You know what I mean? You can't replicate it and you can't remove it. So as long as the story lives on and we're working with the people that we've been with since day one, then I think that she's doing a great job.
What was her reaction to those handcuffs? Because that puts a pretty serious restriction on her doing her job.
I think it's pretty well known that the brand and the word of mouth of Pura Vida is so strong because of the story and the story of two college grads going to Costa Rica. Like it's what's engraved, and it's what allows the word of mouth to be so so viral. So I think it's pretty known that just kind of had to stay.
How have you found staying relevant? So before I ask that, what's the target market for Pura Vida? Like, how would you describe the sort of typical customer?
The typical target customer?
Yeah.
I would say, high school, college, female, someone that, loves the charitable component of a brand, loves the recyclable water bottles, loves the sandals, loves the kind of oversized t-shirt, kind of the laid back lifestyle everywhere you go. So whether you're at the beach, whether you're at home, whether you're at the movie theaters, you're never really wearing makeup and buttoned up and wearing heels. Like, that's not the Pura Vida customer. The Pura Vida customer is someone that is relatable, that cares about the environment, someone that is, health conscious, eco-conscious, and someone that really is really into giving as well.
So here's a goofy question. Again, I've never been involved in a business to consumer company. So I'm asking this with genuine ignorance. So when I'm imagining when you're in college, when you're right out of college, kind of knowing how college age or high school age girls think is pretty easy because you're interacting with a lot of them, I'm guessing, through the Greek stuff and the fraternities. I mean, it's kind of like your everyday life, right? 10 years go by. How do you kind of stay inside the head of that target customer? How do you, do you know what I'm asking? Like, how do you stay kind of, I don't know, relevant is the right word, but to know kind of how they're thinking? So
I think that we solved that problem on year one, and we've continued to engage with that solution. And what it is creating a platform that allows me and Paul walking into the fraternities and sororities and going into each one and telling our story. How do we do that at scale, and how do we do that with thousands of people across the US? So we created a brand ambassador program. And basically what that is a way for people to sign up on our website to be a voice of Pura Vida on their college campuses. So right now we have over 100,000 brand ambassadors that represent Pura Vida on their universities. And if you do the math, that's probably a couple dozen per college campus in the US. So which is insane because this army of brand reps is the most organic guerrilla marketing strategy possible. And it's easily done at scale. And I would say this is probably one of the biggest things of Pura Vida that allowed us to grow organically so quickly before Facebook ads because we relied on the brand ambassadors to get the word out. We'd give them stickers, we'd give them bracelets, we'd give them a t-shirt, we'd give them a banner, flyers, whatever they wanted. And their passion for the brand and to promote it and feel like they're in the cool club is just priceless.
And so I love it. How did you, so the value prop, they get free stuff, they get stickers, swag, obviously bracelets. What is it that you ask them to do?
So basically what we ask them to do on our website, they have a rep code. So it's basically their name, their last name, then a 20. So they share Pura Vida with their friends, they get 20% off, and then they also get 10% back as a reward. So it's kind of a double-ended thing. And as they're going through these tiers, if they make one sale, they get 5 free bracelets. If they make 3 sales, they get a rep charm. It says Pura Vida rep. If they make 5 sales, they get a Pura Vida staff t-shirt that only people in our office get to have. So not only are they promoting a brand that they're so passionate about, there's a financial reward, and then there's also gifts as you're going through the tiers.
I love it. It's awesome. And so what would a kind of an average or slightly above average Pura Vida rep make a year? Like how much would they make on their commission?
I mean, it's not that much. I mean, maybe they'll do a couple sales during the year, but it's not just about the revenue side. You know, they're talking about the brand. They're giving Pura Vida another impression that's outside of the Facebook ad, that's outside of the Instagram page, that's outside of the retail presence. Like they are giving that other impression that other brands would have to pay for otherwise.
Love it. Awesome. All right, take me up to present day because you've just sold the company. Vera Bradley has bought it. Tell me how you and Paul are the only shareholders. Did you raise any money before the sale?
No, so we started with $100 each and never took on funding.
Fantastic. What an amazing story. So what was it that triggered your decision to sell?
I don't think it was a decision that just triggered a sell. I think that we were getting hit up by private equity pretty much every week at this point. We were taking calls and meetings, and we kind of felt that the brand was at such a pivotal point that having some strategic expertise and a little bit more guidance would really bolster the brand for continued rapid growth. And yes, we could have done it on our own, but I think having a partner like Vera Bradley that's helping out with 35 years of experience versus our 9.5 is just priceless. So think about, they're taking off, from accounting, HR, payroll, accounts receivable, helping out with legal, some of the financial stuff. So all that stuff, instead of us continuing to build our headquarters, with a bunch of back office operations, we're scaling more with the marketing team, the sales team, and the creative people. So that's what's really going to bring Pura Vida forward. And then we can leverage Vera Bradley for their 35 plus years of expertise in the back office functions.
Got it. So you guys got to a point where you were kind of craving some of that advice or that expertise, if you will. Was that what? Yeah,
I would say that's probably the biggest thing. You can network with other founders. You can you could hire consultants. You can go to these networking events, but to have someone that is invested the same way you are for success is way different. And I think once we interviewed, we interviewed I think 25 groups. We had 7 offers. And we chose Vera Bradley because it was the most strategic, it was the smartest partner, and we were confident with the people that we wanted to do business with.
Got it. So at some point, it sounds like you initiated a sort of an M&A, mergers and acquisition mandate of some sort. You hired an M&A firm, and they went out and sort of talked to these. Correct.
Yeah, we hired a firm to help kind of represent us and help us help pitch us.
How did you find that M&A firm?
We've been going to trade shows for a long time, and there's this one guy that would come up to our booth all the time and chat with us, and basically just kind of form a relationship. So about 5 years ago, he would come to our trade show booth. He'd be like, "Hey, you guys aren't ready, but when you are, I'm here for you." And year over year after that, he kept kind of continuing the relationship and just kind of looking after Paul and I and Pura Vida. And, when we were ready, we picked up the phone and he was ready to go too.
I kind of get the idea that there was expertise that you were looking for, but I want to dig in on the timing a little bit more. So can you think back to what happened at that last trade show that made the decision different for you, that it was actually now time to proactively get on your front foot and start the process? Like, was something going on in your personal life, or were you like, because you'd been courted for a while and you clearly knew you were sort of a hot commodity. So you could have flipped the switch anytime, really. But there was something that must have happened that made you think, yeah, okay, now's the right time.
I don't think it was a big life event. I think it was more just knowing that it's healthy to de-risk any investment. And it's also healthy to know that you're not the smartest person in the room. And I think when you blend both of those together, that bringing on a partner, taking some cash off the table is just a smart move. It also is a moving target. You can never time it. You could always say, but next year. And I think that the way that we kind of set it up, along with our kind of tiered earnout, will allow us to continue having motivation for Pura Vida, but also, have another healthy exit as well.
Yeah. And I'd love to get into that. Before we go, though, you had 25 kind of interested parties that sort of signed a letter or an NDA, I'm guessing, of some sort. Yeah. Got it. And what were some of your reflections when you think about those? Were there any sort of themes that came out of those meetings that might be helpful for our listeners?
I mean, yeah, it was a huge learning process. I feel like just going through that, I went to grad school or something. We're sitting across the table, across the conference room table with billionaires. We're sitting across the table with, CMOs of public companies. It was pretty awesome. The fact that they even wanted to take a meeting with us, we were honored. So I think, it's really cool being in this position because you're basically both sides are interviewing each other because you either both want each other or you both don't want each other. And I think a big learning was, knowing that there is fad risk with any company. You know what I mean? People want to know, so how long is this going to stick around for? Or is this brand cool in 5 or 10 years? Or what happens if X, Y, and Z? Or how are you going to fix these issues? So it's really like a poking and prying type of interview, if you will. But you got to know that their questions are valid. And it's probably the first time we've ever been challenged with those questions. So there's a little bit of discomfort when you're asked.
Yeah. So you were asked questions. What were your questions of them? Like you said, it was a two-way street. So what sort of questions were you asking those 25 companies?
I would say, our point of view on private equity is that there's private equity and there's strategic. Okay, strategic is a brand. You know what I mean? Private equity is more of kind of a bank, if you will. And the way that we viewed both of those is the private equity is more they want your business to grow, they want to pump money into it, and then maybe after a couple years have another exit. Where we felt that going with a strategic company was better fit for Pura Vida because we wanted this brand to be around for 5, 10, 20 plus years. And we know that with Vera Bradley's expertise and their longevity and how long they've been a brand for, that's what we were aligned with the most.
Got it. And you felt, so again, some of our listeners would have explored the private equity versus sort of strategic. What other sort of kind of conclusions did you come to about the private equity offer and how it differed than a strategic?
I think the private equity was more, it was more of a, how do I say, like more like math and calculation and more leverage on just like continued quicker growth, where the strategic decision, the strategic buyer for us was more on longevity of the brand, and basically making sure that Pura Vida is going to be around for a while and that together we want to build this into a household name. So I guess my kind of summary is private equity in my eyes was more kind of fix and flip and lean out kind of model. And then the strategic is more create more structure from within, grow this brand and continue to kind of scale it for the longer term. That's kind of my point.
Got it. Of the 7 offers, how many of them were from strategics and how many from private equity?
So we had, out of the 25, we only met with 3 strategics and 22 private equity. So out of the 7 offers, there is 1 strategic and 6 private equity. So the private equity is obviously more common. It just has its different risks associated with it.
Got it. And I looked at the Pura Vida / Vera, I guess it was a Vera Bradley press release. So all kind of public information as I understand it. So some of the details here I've got, you guys were doing 68 million in revenue, 13.7 million in adjusted EBITDA. So the overall value, the overall cash was $75 million for 75% of the company. Is that right? And I guess 22.5 on earnout?
Exactly, yeah. So it's basically for the 75%, it's right under the 100 million mark for that 75%. Between 75 million and the adjusted earnout that will trigger from the 2019 sales. And then after that, there's another earnout for the 25% purchase. So it's a put call agreement. So if Pura Vida wants to sell the remaining 25% to Vera Bradley, then they'll buy it, and vice versa.
And at what price? Explain the put call for me and others who don't understand the intricacies. Yeah,
so it's pretty nitty gritty in the terms, but kind of just for like simple terms, the value of Pura Vida will be determined at the future multiple and the future EBITDA of the brand at year 5. So the same way they calculated it in 2019, they'll do a similar calculation in 2024. So it's not, it's kind of a moving number.
Got it. And the multiple I've just derived it of 7.3 times adjusted EBITDA. Is that about right?
It was 9.5.
9.5. Oh, I must have done it against the smaller, against the upfront, the downside.
Yeah. So the enterprise value was 130 million.
Okay.
So that's you kind of work backwards. So the enterprise value is 130, and then 75% was for 75 million plus up to 22.5, and then the remaining 25% is for the future value and the EBITDA.
Got it. So you guys have got some skin in the game and motivation to continue to grow the business. How did that valuation compare across the spectrum of offers? So you mentioned you had 7, 1 from the strategic. What were the other 6's sort of offers like?
Yeah, I think there was two that were a little bit higher, and then the rest were lower. So it was definitely like mid to high range. It definitely wasn't the highest offer, which did come in from a private equity. And we did feel, like I said before, that it's not just about the dollars. It's also about the longevity of your decision. Because this is the biggest decision we made in the decade, the biggest single decision. So I think that it's important to know that Pura Vida was never started to make money and just to become a profitable business. Like, we started out of a college trip that turned into a business. So with that type of mentality, and us not choosing the highest dollar amount offer, they kind of go hand in hand. Like, we truly wanted to go with the partner that we felt would bring this brand around for 10 plus years.
What was it about the private equity offer, the one that was for a higher amount, that didn't quite sit well? Was there anything about the terms that didn't quite match the Vera Bradley terms?
I would say, maybe slight mix in the terms. I think our alignment on just kind of like the brand growth and how quickly we wanted to grow it, and also the potential risk at a 3 or 5 year earnout. It seemed more secure on the Vera Bradley deal, when the other one was, if we don't hit this, then it's less likely you're going to hit this. It's just kind of, it's more of once again, kind of a de-risking strategy.
Yeah, you were being asked to shoulder more of the risk in the private equity deals.
For example, if we went with the other deal, it would have been more money up front. And if we blow past all of our numbers for the next 3 to 5 years, then that second earnout could be more. But we felt that the Vera Bradley deal was a little bit more strategic, a little safer, and a little bit more conservative for our type of mentality.
What did Vera Bradley see in you guys? Like, why was it strategic for them? Well,
I think it's strategic for them because, Pura Vida, a lot of people consider it as a kind of an e-commerce expert in terms of our website performance, our social media presence. We're a dominant player in the tech space for Shopify. So I think that they really viewed us as kind of a coach to help them with their social media strategy along with their e-commerce strategy. Vera Bradley is going to be switching over to Shopify, which is the platform we're on. So we're going to help them set up all the apps that Pura Vida is on. We're going to help, whether it's reducing some of our costs because both brands are signing up for the similar service. There's a lot of benefits with kind of aligning both brands on the Shopify platform. And I think Vera Bradley's e-commerce team really looks at Pura Vida as a coach for that transition.
Maybe you could describe the subscription model you guys have, and then I'd also love to ask you how that played into your conversations with Vera Bradley.
Yeah, I mean, the subscription model was started, I think, over 3 years ago. And we basically wanted to solve the issue for a couple things. One, how do we have another revenue stream? How do we have a predictable revenue stream? And how do we create a way for customers to buy more than 1 to 2 times? And we did that by getting people hooked on a subscription. It's called the Pura Vida Monthly Club. It's $14.95 per month, free shipping, and 3 bracelets that come in this package every month that you can only get if you subscribe. So you can't buy them anywhere else. That every single month is a new package, and every month comes with a sticker that you can only get in that order. And the emphasis on this sticker is pretty mind-blowing. So Pura Vida, our best converting Facebook ad, is free sticker pack with every order. So you got to think about that. Who loves stickers more than anyone is people that are in high school and college. They put it on their water bottles, their laptop, their binder, their window, their dorm room, whatever it is. So this free sticker pack with every order and the exclusive sticker in the monthly club is almost more of a draw, if not the same amount of draw as the product itself.
That's wild. That's wild. What percentage of your revenue was coming from the subscription offering at the time of the acquisition?
It was about, I think 15%.
15?
Yeah, 15 to 20%. Yeah.
I think in the public disclosure documents from Vera Bradley, it was like 18 point something. You can Google it, but something in the 15 to 20 range. Got it. And what role did the subscription offering play in your dialogue with Vera Bradley leading up to the sale? Was that something you guys talked about?
Yeah, I think they view it as another channel. You know what I mean? So each channel for Pura Vida has kind of a different math behind it. You know what I mean? From like the gross margin, the profit, and the EBITDA. So we have our wholesale business, we have our e-commerce business, and we have our subscription business. So when you kind of put all those together, those channels create the top line revenue for the sale.
Yeah. This is a goofy question, but I have to ask. I mean, you're a young guy, right? Like if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see Griffin's got a beanie hat on. I mean, you look like you just come off a surf trip of some sort. Started with 400 bracelets like 10 years ago, and here we are, like $100 million company. Like what does that do to a guy?
I mean, I don't know. You kind of just got to roll with it. You know what I mean? You can't let money change you. You got to take care of your friends and family, and you just got to enjoy life. I come into work every day with a smile on my face. I walk around the office inspiring the staff to continue working hard. We just had the opportunity to build our own custom office. So whether it's the cold brew on tap, the waiting room that we have, the ocean view from everyone's desk, or the food delivery that happens pretty much every day, I think people just love coming to the office, and that's what makes me happy and wanting to continue to work hard.
What's been the most surprising thing about that amount of wealth that quickly?
I think probably just preservation from the beginning. You hear these stories about people like hitting the lottery and then losing all their money, then they're filing for bankruptcy. Like that's something that I would never do, but I feel like that's like the worst case scenario. So I think it's really important to know that by coming up into wealth, you have to know how to preserve it. You have to know how to protect it and set it up for long-term growth. So you can build wealth for your family and your kids.
Where do you get that wisdom from? Where have you received that wisdom from? Again, I go back to the fact, like I'd expect that answer from someone who's 60 years old, has, grandkids, and has been around the block for many, many turns. Where did you get that kind of wisdom from?
I think just always watching the news and having a good financial advisor since I was 18, and just kind of being very in the know of what's going on in the market, and just knowing how to, really live a lifestyle and prepare for a lifestyle for the rest of my life, that I kind of have this in my head. I grew up in LA, in Agora, Calabasas, Westlake area. I would surf Malibu pretty much 3 or 4 days a week. And I would see all these people driving around in nice cars and living in these pretty nice houses. And I was like, what's the difference between me, 17-year-old Griffs with a surfboard and sandy feet, and that guy rolling up in his Bentley to his mansion? I mean, it's just, how do you paint that picture, and how do you create the bridge and walk across it? And I think after going to college at San Diego State, joining the Greek system, finding the bracelets in Costa Rica, and just somehow figuring it all out, it's tough. I mean, I don't really have something else to say. It just kind of.
How has it impacted your relationship with the guys you knew at school?
I mean, I'm still best friends with our same crew. The same guys that I graduated college with. We all live on the same street in San Diego. It's kind of like the dream scenario. We all live on the same street. We surf as much as we can. All the surfboards are stored in my garage. So every Saturday morning, all the buddies show up in my driveway, sunscreen, wax, blasting music. And then Monday morning comes and we're all back at the office.
But it doesn't have isn't there an elephant in the room now with the relationships? I mean, if I'm just going to work for my kind of everyday job, and there's Griffin rocking up on Monday morning, having a very different situation, isn't it a sort of an elephant in the room?
No, I mean, I think it's just been Pura Vida, and my lifestyle, along with Paul's, has always been blended into one thing. And I think that as our success grew over the 10 years, we've always given to our friends, we've given to our family, we've hosted parties, hosted Thanksgiving, we've paid for a taco guy, we've paid for a trip, we've got the extra hotel room. It's like, I think that those kind of things just kind of go along with it. And I don't think that there is an elephant in the room, because we've always been so grateful of the growth along the way.
Did you buy yourself a trophy?
I mean, I got a Tesla. I feel like that's,
there you go.
Gotta help Elon's stock price.
Yeah, that's not having many problems these days.
I know.
Good for you. What'd you buy? Which one?
I got the Tesla, the Model S.
Nice. Did you get the P100?
Yeah.
Attaboy.
It's fun car.
Nice. Well, listen, I just, you have a fairy tale. I'm sure you hear this all the time, and I'm sure it was hard work, incredibly hard work, but it just, you have an amazing story, and it's just an amazing, authentic story. And I'm really grateful for you sharing with us.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate it. You definitely asked some great questions, so I feel inspired too.
Awesome. Griffin, if people want to reach out, do you want to send them to a website, or do you accept LinkedIn connections? What's the best?
I would say not LinkedIn. I get tons of spam on LinkedIn, as most people do. But just email me, griffin@puravidabracelets.com, or I'm pretty active on Instagram, so just at Griffin Thall. You could send me a DM, and I'd be happy to pick up the phone and chat.
Griffin, appreciate it. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Peace out. Thanks.
Thanks for listening to Built to Sell Radio with John Warrillow. For complete show notes with links to additional resources, visit builttosell.com/blog. John is the founder of the Value Builder System. To find out how to improve the value of your business by 71%, visit valuebuildersystem.com. John is also the author of Built to Sell, Creating a Business That Can Thrive Without You, and The Automatic Customer, Creating a Subscription Business in Any Industry. Connect with John at facebook.com/built-to-sell or on Twitter at John Warrillow, WARRILLOW. Thanks for listening.